I'm Roy Lee Lindsay with the North Carolina Pork Council, and I want everyone to remember bacon makes everything better.
It's March Madness time here in the Old North State, and that means it's time for a special edition of the Bold North State right here on the North Carolina Sports Network. I'm Mike Waddell, a proud alumnus of Guilford College, class of 1991, now joined by the Final Four bound head coach of those Guilford College Quakers, Tom Palombo, now in his 21st season on West Friendly Avenue. And Coach, your team has made a heck of a run here in the ODAC and now the NCAA tournaments. Tough break in the first round of the ODAC tournament, but your team has been red hot all season long and obviously getting hot at the right time as you're headed to the Final Four of the third in Guilford College history.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, we're excited about this. Our ODAC tournament stay unfortunately didn't last very long, but the guys, we really regrouped and, being able to play at home, the last 2 weekends, the students came out in full force. They were a big, the crowd that had a big impact on all the games we played in. It was so much fun to see all that support, to go to everyone. It was awesome.
When you talk about college basketball in North Carolina, obviously the Dukes and the North Carolinas, the ACC Tobacco Road gets a lot of the attention, but for fans of college basketball, true aficionados, they know that small college basketball in North Carolina has long been absolutely fantastic. Guilford College, the 1973 national champions in the NAIA under your predecessor, a few coaches removed, Jack Jensen, the former Wake Forest Demon Deacon player coaching the Quakers, World Be Free, ML Carr, Greg Jackson to that championship in Kansas City. He got back to the NAIA tournament a couple of times, but never able to recreate that magic. But now this will be your third trip taking the Quakers to the NCAA Final Four. I mean, that is a heck of an accomplishment for a school that is really not known for athletics other than men's basketball and golf.
Yeah, we're excited about the opportunity. I think every year is unique and every year is different. And it's like you were saying before, you get hot at the right time, you get into the tournament, a lot of it is at every level, Division I as well. It's about the matchups and, what certain teams do well, what other teams don't. And, so it's a crapshoot. Once you get into the 64, anybody can beat anybody. And certainly now when you get down to 4, all these teams are just really good. They're superior in every way. And, you just got to come ready to play and see what you got. And we'll do that. We'll be ready to play. And it's going to be tough. Hampton City's really good. Number 1 in the country. They're very good. And, we're excited about the opportunity.
Now, you played Hampton Sydney earlier this year, back on December 2nd, there at Reagan Brown Fieldhouse on the Guilford campus. You got them 80-71, the Quakers over the Tigers. Does that game have any relevance right now? Does it give your kids confidence, or does it give Hampton Sydney maybe a little bit of an edge in terms of getting revenge?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real relevance to the game as far as either an edge or, confidence either way. I think both teams are really confident right now. We're all, everybody in the Final Four is on a pretty good winning streak and feeling pretty good about themselves. But yeah, I think at this point, I don't think there's any extra motivation you need than a Final Four game and a chance to play for a national championship. So I think everybody's going to be ready to go and hyped, and we're excited to get to Fort Wayne and get this thing going.
You talk about every year being different. It's certainly a new thing for these Quakers to be on this type of a national stage. How do you manage that and keep them focused on the eyes on the prize and coming home with some hardware from Fort Wayne?
Yeah, really fortunate to have a pretty veteran group. Julius Birch and Tyler Dearman are both 5-year players here. They're getting their grad degrees. They got their undergrad here, and I'll be honest with you, Mike, they run the team. I'm along for the ride. They coach most of the team. They're in the locker room with them on the floor. They know what we want to do, how we want to do it. The players respect them, and player-led teams are a heck of a lot more successful than coach-led teams, and those two guys really lead the charge for us. I can't say enough good things about both those guys, because they really do, in addition to what they do on the court, which is great, what they do, emotionally and basketball IQ wise and in the locker room and on campus is way beyond anything they do on the court.
You have 14 North Carolina kids on the roster for this Final Four bound Guilford College Quaker basketball team. How much is recruiting North Carolina a part of your strategic plan?
Oh, it's everything. We try to, within a couple hours of where we are. That's going to be our lifeline. That's what we want to hang our hat on, is getting the best talent we possibly can that fits us and fits Guilford College, of course, and what we're trying to accomplish from an academic standpoint. First and foremost, and then fitting our culture of, guys that average a lot of points in high school and have the ball in their hands all the time, sometimes don't work out so well here. We're more of a defensive, grind it out. You're going to sacrifice for the team, and hey, you may get a chance to score some points, but you may not, and you got to find a way to, to be okay with that. And we've been able to get guys, I think, that buy into that. We want to win and we want to be successful, and you can have a good experience here winning games, and maybe you're not the superstar, but you can enjoy the time here and learn a lot more maybe than just I'm a really good basketball player and I can score a lot of points.
We're talking with Tom Palombo. He is the head coach of the Guilford College Quakers, going to their third all-time NCAA Final Four for Division III. This Thursday, they'll go up against another team from their own conference, the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, Hampton-Sydney. That game tips off a little after 5:30 there in the Hoosier State. And, Coach, you didn't have to go very far to have one of your better players. You mentioned him earlier, Julius Birch. He's averaging a double-double, 11 points and 10 rebounds, bringing back a lot of the memories for old Quaker basketball fans like me of a guy named Bob Kaufman who averaged a double-double back in the NAIA days, but he's from Southern Guilford High School. How much does it mean to your program in terms of brand to be able to take a guy like Julius Birch and have him lead you to a Final Four?
Yeah, it's awesome. Julius and Tyler Dearman, both are Southern Guilford guys. They were high school teammates. Both came here and both have grown, just so much as young men and leaders. Obviously, as basketball players, they're really good and have gotten a lot better basketball-wise. But their development as people and leaders is what I'm most proud of. And yeah, having the local guys, that helps attendance at games too. Their families and their friends, and everybody's coming, and that's a big deal to us too. That's what kind of what we talked about. Recruiting North Carolina is big for a lot of reasons, but also to get that community feel here. And like I said before, the students came out and the community came out. And a lot of it is because of guys like that. And we have a lot of other guys, from the area, Raleigh and Durham. And, it's fun to do that for a lot of different reasons. And basketball in the state of North Carolina is obviously really good too. So that helps us. You
mentioned the tough Old Dominion Athletic Conference tournament. You lose in the quarters of the ODAC by 67-60 to Virginia Wesleyan. Now, since then, you have beaten in the first round of the NCAA tournament Berry by 17, in the second round over Penn State Harrisburg by 17, over Keene State by 22, and then the defending national champion Christopher Newport comes into Greensboro, and they go back home to Tidewater with a 2-point loss, 50-48. Okay, so tell us, what did you tell the team after that Old Dominion Athletic Conference quarterfinal loss that got them so focused to where they have been on such a tear, a 4-game winning streak now in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's part of it, losing that game. We weren't sure we were getting in the NCAA tournament, and everybody's like, oh, you're getting in. Well, I said, yeah, well, last year we were 22-6, and last year we had beaten Hampton-Sydney, which was number 2 in the region, and we beat Emory, which was number 3, and we didn't get in. So, we lost that Thursday and came back, and I wasn't sure. So we kind of had some light workouts on Friday and Saturday, just not knowing, what was going to happen. And then we kind of had once we found out Sunday, we found out Monday afternoon we were getting in. We had a meeting, and we kind of aired everything out as to the way we played on Thursday and the way things went down. And we just didn't play Guilford basketball in a lot of different ways. And a lot of that meeting wasn't great and it wasn't pleasant. And, we rolled into Tuesday practice and got ourselves ready to play in the weekend. And we've been playing really well. We've been playing really well ever since, because, we might have won those games by, 17 or whatever. Those games were really competitive. Those games were really tough. It's just late, at the end of games now, is everybody's, we're going to foul and do. So we were able to pad some of that lead, but those games were way closer than that. And obviously the Christopher Newport game was down to the wire.
You mentioned the fact that a lot of your players have been with you for a long time at Division III. I don't suppose you're dealing with a lot of name, image, and likeness issues. So that veteran leadership really has to harken back to the good old days of college basketball, where everybody stayed for 4 years for the most part, and you truly were able to build that team environment. That's one of the hallmarks, I believe, of your time at Guilford College. I met you 21 years ago when you came on the campus. You've also been the director of athletics for a spell during your tenure there in Greensboro. But Tom, you're a selfless guy, and I would think that your team would play that way as well. I remember in suburban Cleveland when I was watching you in your Elite Eight games in 2009 and 2010, you carry your own briefcase to and from the locker room. There are not 13 managers on your sidelines. You don't have a bevy of analysts behind you on the bench. It's you and a couple of guys, and you're coaching ball. How much is that a comfort to you to know that you can still really make a difference in these kids' lives and build those relationships with the young men that you coach at Guilford?
Yeah, it's really important to me that we have that here, and we have, it's funny you say that, with the guys we have now that are selfless, and, they don't get that from me. They get, and they understand this, like, it's been passed along from back in the days of Caleb Kimbrough, who, we're going to coach against at Hampton-Sydney, was one of the best that played for me and coached with me. And, it started back with those guys and went to Clay Henson and Rhett Bonner. And then later on, Matt McCarthy, Marcus Curry, who's an assistant at Virginia Wesleyan, Zach Houston, one of the all-time greatest selfless players we've ever had here, Joe Logan. And I think, Jalen Gore, I'm probably leaving guys out, and I don't want to do that, but they all passed it to each other, passed it along. And, I think one of the most, I look back to when we won the ODAC championship, I think it was 19, and Jalen Gore, after the game, Zach Houston was there, and Zach had graduated in 2017 and talked about how, hey, Zach said, what a great job, what a great leader you are. And Jalen telling him, man, I got that from you. You passed that to me. And when I got to hear something like that, that's, that tells everything about the program, that, it's not me, it's those guys passing it along to each other. And honestly, that's why we've been able to maintain our level of success. That's a big reason to me. And Julius and Tyler are doing those same things now with the guys who will become leaders next year.
Whether you are moving locally, nationally, or even internationally, and whether you're a residential or commercial customer, please consider our friends at XL Moving and Storage, an award-winning Allied Van Lines agent with offices in Greensboro and Raleigh. Thanks to their 25 years of experience helping North Carolinians all across the state with their moving and storage needs, XL has become the trusted hometown North Carolina moving services company. Our good friends Jim Dorsett and Jody Hatley, along with their hardworking staff, offer customized, tailored relocation and storage solutions to the people of North Carolina and beyond. Visit them online today at xlms.com. That's EXCELMS.com.
We're talking with Tom Palombo. He's the head coach of Guilford College. The Quakers headed to Fort Wayne for this weekend's NCAA Division III Final Four. It's the third NCAA Final Four that Coach Palombo has taken the Quakers to. And I have to ask you, Coach, after you get the win over Christopher Newport on Saturday night, how much did your phone blow up and get text messages from those former players and from friends in the coaching profession?
It was crazy. One of my former assistants, I give him a hard time, Ronnie Thomas, who was here, and he's at Longwood now. And they just won a Big South championship, and got to watch him yesterday cut down the nets, which is fun for me to do. But I told him, man, I felt like you, because he's all, he's a pop, he's all into the. I probably had 150 text messages. I didn't think I knew 150 people. But yeah, I got a bunch of text messages after. It was blowing up. It was fun. It was exciting to be able to reply to everybody.
And I would think that having a former basketball coach now as your director of athletics, and Bill Foddy, he had a long-standing career coaching in the Northeast, has come to Guilford College. And did that play a big role in Guilford being able to host games in the Division III tournament? How does that process work out?
Yeah, Bill's been great. You know, it's been awesome working with him and working for him, and he's been nothing but supportive to the basketball program, and him and Emily Gann, our volleyball coach and assistant AD, just doing the bid process was huge with that. Yeah, I mean they certainly had a big impact in that. How all that stuff gets decided, I don't know. That's kind of beyond me. I've never really kind of figured out how all that stuff worked. You know, hey, I'm still the guy that thinks we should have been in the tournament last year. You know, so I don't know. You know, I don't know how it all goes from there. But I know it wouldn't have been possible without the help of a lot of people, but specifically Emily and Bill.
Coach, I got to tell you, as we get ready to let you go, I know you're getting ready to leave, to get on the jet plane to get up to Fort Wayne, but one of my favorite people in the world, he has recently passed back in 2017, was the former AD and head football coach at Guilford. His name was Herb Appenzeller, a nationally renowned expert in the studies of sport law and the curriculum of sport management, which is so very prevalent at schools all around the world now. But it was Guilford, UMass Amherst, and Ohio University that started that curriculum back in the 50s and 60s. And Dr. Appenzeller, or Dr. A as he was known, wrote a book called Pride in the Past. And from all of the alumni of Guilford College, you have truly written yet another chapter in Pride in the Past with the glory and the honor that you have brought Guilford College. We're all just so swelling with pride and wish you and your guys, 14 of which from the Old North State, so much luck as you head to Fort Wayne this weekend. And congratulations on a great season. And hopefully we're talking to you again with that national championship banner coming back home to West Friendly Avenue. Tom Palombo, thank you for joining us here on Bold North State.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Thanks for being so kind. I appreciate the kind words, and we'll go do our best. We'll give it everything we have on Thursday.
It's Guilford College and Hampton-Sydney in the national semifinal, the Division III Final Four in Fort Wayne, Indiana. You can follow it all on the Guilford College website. We'll be keeping you up to date as well. The alumni edition of tweets coming from the North Carolina Sports Network. So long.